Yes, yes, yes. Good stuff. So hi Isabel once more. I know we have already asked each other how we're doing, but for the sake of everyone visiting us and seeing us today, how are you doing?
Overall, I'm good. I was just telling you this before we clicked recording. I'm, yeah, kind of like everyone right now, I feel, right? Some, like there's a flu going around, so I think my body's still deciding if I'm going to be sick or not. So let's hope that I'll be better tomorrow. But besides that, everything is good. What about you, Carson?
I am good. I have been in and out of flus, so please do not pass anything to me through Bluetooth or phone. I don't want any of it.
I'll give my best.
Yes. I have to say your skin is glowing. I don't usually say that, but I guess it's the perks of your job, right?
I don't know. I'm actually not wearing anything. No, I'm actually, it's true. Like I use like a vitamin C serum in the morning, so maybe that's why.
Yeah. So let me ask you, are you the most in your family, in your friend group? Are you the most stable? Because I mean, you are the owner of wellness and mindful, that type of world. So are you the most stable in your friend group, or is it chaos on that side?
I don't know if I am the most stable one. I think everything kind of like comes and goes in phases, right? So as I was sharing before with you in like previous conversations we had, like I'm definitely living what I'm teaching and preaching, right? So I think this is a big part of my life since many, many years. So I'm always looking for support when I feel that I'm kind of like stuck where I am at the moment. I try to take good care of my emotional body, like my physical body, but also of my like just like mental health in general. So I do a lot to stay as stable as possible. If I'm the most stable one, I don't know. Maybe we have to ask my friends what they think. But yeah, definitely most of the time I would say I'm quite stable. But I also like I go through difficult phases as everyone too, right? And I struggle, and sometimes I'm asking myself, why am I even doing this? Like, what is this
Mhm.
life teaching me at the moment? Why is this happening to me, right? But I think in comparison to some people who might not yet have all these tools, I'm often able to get myself out of these situations quite
Mhm.
fast, right? I
Mhm.
mean, fast is a definition as well, but yeah, I would say that.
For those who might not, who might be meeting you today for the first time, Um, would you care to tell them a bit of your journey? I know when you started your career, you were more on our side of things, but you left us, you deserted us, and you went at another road. So maybe you can share with us
Yeah.
just a bit more about your background and what you're doing right now. What's keeping you busy?
Sure. I mean, actually, I didn't 100% leave, right? So, because I worked in the corporate world, I was employed. I worked in software sales for a couple of years for an American company, actually, but mainly for the German-speaking market because I'm German. But I also always knew that I wanted to have my own business, right? So I cannot say I left like the business world 100% because what I'm doing right now is also still business, just that it's with a topic that I really deeply care about. So I did a master's in innovation management and entrepreneurship, and this is also that was kind of like the foundation where I really, for the first time, thought, okay, I can actually do this, right? And then like during my years like in the corporate position, I did a bunch of external courses in like the mental health space. Basically, I did a yoga teacher training, somatic mentorship as well. Yeah, I don't know, like many courses and certificates in this area. And then from there it kind of like developed that I founded Monkey Mind retreats, and also like a little bit later Alchemy Essence. And yeah, everything kind of like that was the base. And then from there I just like developed different retreats, different coaching programs as well. And yeah, I'm working with people one on one. I also do corporate wellness, actually, where we focus mainly on anxiety and stress management. And I also support younger entrepreneurs in their journeys, like if they want to, for example, move abroad and kind of like set up their own online business
Mm.
with the topics that are mainly connected with I am doing as well,
Yeah.
in a nutshell.
So right now you have bridged, and I guess that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. You have bridged your, let me say, sales, marketing, business side with the wellness, health and well-being side. So you are doing a business in the health and well-being space, and you're still helping out entrepreneurs because you have gone through that road before,
Exactly.
and you might relate to some of their problems.
Yeah, totally, totally. And what I also see, at least like now working with more younger wellness entrepreneurs, very often they're missing the business side of things, right? And I think that's where I have a strong background, and of course also like all the learnings of from my business from the last years, and also the courses that I did and mentors that I got kind of like help in this sense as well. But I still very much also enjoy the other part, right? So really working with people one-on-one or in groups or during the retreats, and working on very like deep topics too, right? So like we work a lot on like emotional release, on how to use the body to process emotions mainly, right? And not only on like a mental level, going too much into the story. So what has happened in the past is important, but it's not kind of like the core of what we do in the sessions and in the work that I do.
Yeah. Um, it's interesting. We've never shared this story, so this will be the first time us sharing this story of how we actually met.
Mm.
So I have to say your sales game is actually really nice because for those watching us, Isabel was contacting me to be her client, and then I did the Uno reverse.
True, true, true.
And I remember watching the stuff you were sending me and seeing what you were doing, and I was genuinely interested, and we met, and I was like, this girl is cool, and I mean, good vibes. We can definitely build a friendship along that lines.
Hmm.
How has your ability, because you said you did sales for I don't know if it was a German company or American company.
It's an American company, yeah, but for the German speaking markets.
Yes, yes. So how has that helped you in terms of just propelling your business? And how important is it to know how to sell your business? Because you might have a good thing, but just don't know how to sell it.
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing, right? That's also what like we keep saying our younger entrepreneurs now in the when I say younger, I don't mean the age, it's just like in the phase of their business where they are. That's basically what we keep telling them, right? Because you can have the nicest idea, but if you don't know how to sell and market yourself, then you're also not going to get clients, and then you're not able to actually live from your business, right? So you need
Yeah,
to generate turnover. But all of that also, like while you're doing this needs to be still authentic and also like matching your energy and like who you are, so it's not that easy. But coming back to your question, it definitely, yeah, helped a lot. Like I think I always somehow worked in sales, even like while I was studying I had like a few promotion jobs, so I think I was very used to also just approaching people like in real life. And then online lead generation, online sales was a bit different, right? So like,
yeah,
yeah, it's different than actually meeting someone in person. It's a little bit harder. But also the years working in direct sales actually for the American company helped a lot to just like overcome some fears, like you just like you kind of like pick up the phone and then you just like call people, and then also understanding that rejection is part of the game somehow, right? And I think also, but that's I think something what I learned later, not only like in the corporate job, like also with like different business coaches I had, like how do you actually also manage and navigate people through sales calls, right? Because at the end of the day, you are a stranger to them, and like you need to actually build a connection. And it's not a
yeah.
false connection, it's just like really kind of like getting to the core problem, asking many, many questions. And I think it's a mix of things what I've been learning over the last years, and I'm still learning, right? It's not that
Yeah.
I am perfect in what I'm doing, but I think I gathered lots of information, lots of practice, and I keep practicing this to, yeah, just support my own business and my vision of my business as well.
It's true that in sales you get rejected a lot, and I know you have like a bag full of tools on because in the corporate world, and I guess just in any business, you might get like 10% of the people you go to who might even want to talk to you, and even from that 10% you are lucky if you get 3% to actually convert. So
Hmm.
how can a person who is a young entrepreneur who's trying to sell something, market something, what are some tools they can just use to like ground themselves and to not take it personally?
Yeah, very good question. I think mindset work is kind of like one of the most important things that you really have to do as an entrepreneur on yourself, right? Every single day. It's not something that you do like once a year in a retreat or every, I don't know, every 5 weeks or something. So I really, and I still do this almost every day. I would say 80% of my mornings, right? Like I have a certain routine where I really kind of like work on my mindset. It's different for everyone. It also depends on like how much work you have done in this field already. But 100%, I would say, like as a recommendation, is work on your limiting beliefs and understand where they are coming from, right? So
What do you
this like
mean by
voice,
limiting beliefs?
was just about to say this, like this voice in your head which is telling you you cannot do this, you're going to fail, you're going to live on the street, no one cares about like what you have to share, no one is interested in the work that you do, this will not be sustainable in the long run. However, right, like this voice in our head, it goes on and on and on. And you, I think as an entrepreneur, like you have to learn how to navigate and kind of like make this voice your friend instead of like letting it use you, right? Because at the end of the day, this fear or fears in general are our biggest protectors, and they really want, yeah, to secure our survival at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But on the other side, it's also like what can actually happen, right? So one thing is like work on kind of like your limiting beliefs, understand them, and then try to rephrase them, and also like work with your body, like invite positive emotions when you use the positive affirmations, right? Another thing, what I also often recommend is like think of the worst case scenario and then really be realistic about it. Like, what is really the worst thing that can happen? And very often it's actually not that bad, right? So,
Hmm.
like, this also helps a little bit, like taking this fear away. And then on the other side is like connecting, like, with this higher version of yourself who has already achieved all of these things that you would like to achieve, right? And then really acting out of a place from this person, like kind of like your higher self and being
Yeah.
all that. The more you do that, the more you become this person as well, which then also ultimately helps you on your journey.
I was speaking to a close friend of mine, and they were telling me sometimes, sometimes this work can become challenging, and they were telling me that I need to remember those many times that I have been successful. I have closed that big deal. I have talked to that person. I have achieved this and that, and not wait for that to happen, because when that happens you're pumped, you're like, I'm the guy, that's me.
Mm. Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, it's true.
sometimes you're in that drought phase and you forget who you are, and you almost wait for an evidence of you
Hmm.
achieving that every time for you to actually believe in yourself. So they were telling me, hey Carson,
Makes
you
sense.
need to believe this is you all the time. You can't just, believe it when it happens.
Totally. Depending too much on like the external world, right? I mean, we do
Yeah.
depend on it, but like still, yeah, like kind of like developing this internally that you're fine with whatever happens in the outside world, right?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of hard because it's tied to your identity. It's easy to see yourself as deserving and, as loved or as accepted when everything is okay. But now when things are challenging, for example, you said you're like, will this work? Will I live in the streets? What happens when your rent is late? You don't have money for food. How it's hard to tell yourself that you're gonna be okay, or you are the right person when things are not going so well.
Yeah, But I think there it's really important that you learn to understand and listen to your intuition, right? Because it sometimes can be that you're really on the wrong path, right? And this might not be for you, right? So it can sometimes be that. So maybe, I don't know, the idea you had is not working. Maybe you need to make an adjustment. Or
Yeah,
there are people who are really not made for entrepreneurship, right? And they
yeah,
are happier and they have a healthier lifestyle when they are when they work in employment and when they have someone who tells them what to do. I know, for example, this is not me, right? So I don't like people telling me what to do. I think I'm very efficient also with like how I work and everything, and I do a million things at the same time. Sometimes,
yeah.
of course, there's room for improvement, but I know that I work like this best. Like I have my own schedule. I'm flexible. I can work from wherever. I decide like where my company is based. All of
Yeah.
these things, right? But I think like when it comes down to these moments that you were just describing, it's like we need to be able to actually listen to our intuition, because like the intuition like is this like deep trust that it will be okay because this is your path. If it's not your path, then you might need to change. But if this is your path, then things will work out.
Um, so when you're saying you have to have this intuition, I remember the last time I was on your podcast, we talked about masculine and feminine traits or per se in terms of how what happens in terms of business. But how do you balance you're in an emotional state? So yes, you are a bit on the edge. You're not sure of yourself, but at the same time you're not sure of what you're doing because maybe it's not working out, but you also don't want to give up. So how do you understand that this is my intuition? This is just me panicking. Are there tools that to help ground you in those cases?
I think first we have to understand the distinction, right? So, like in general, fear feels very urgent. Like it feels like I need to act now, It's like something that is like kind of like, yeah, pressuring me to take a decision right now because otherwise everything else is going to fall apart, right? And if we compare it to intuition, it's not that urgent. It's more gentle and it's more like this deep knowing that you feel when you are in peace, right? So I think it's like the distinction needs to be made there. And then in general, like I think, when we want to work with negative emotions, when it comes to tools, it's like using the body to get rid of like first of the charge that you're experiencing, right? So maybe it's stress, maybe it's anxiety. So we could, for example, work with EFT, emotional freedom techniques, something that I teach inside my program as well. There are different active meditation techniques, for example, like just like shaking the whole body and just again, like using the body to process these negative emotions. And then once you've done this afterwards, maybe even after this practice, checking in with yourself, like what is the right thing for me to do right now when I'm not charged with these negative emotions, right? So what is kind of like my inner wisdom telling me? And then it might be, okay, stop, maybe do something else, or it might be, just like do what you're doing, continue to trust, and things will work out. It's not sitting around and doing nothing, right? So
Yeah.
then also at the end of the day, you're not going to like be able to sustain your business, but it's also not giving up just because things are maybe not working out right now, right? Because I think especially in entrepreneurship, so many people give up too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Welch, for example, talks about this a lot as well. It's like, like you just keep on doing. And I read this yesterday in an Instagram post as well. Like, just try to be 1% better every single day. And then, like,
Mm-hmm.
if you do this for 365 days, this is a lot, right? So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I like when you say that fear makes it feel very urgent. When when because I do a lot. I do some negotiation um and I have observed that tactic that people use to get you to sign a deal, or even debt collectors, or they just put a lot of pressure and they take you into that zone in which you get fearful. And then the easiest thing for you to do, you want to make this uncomfortability go away immediately. So you'll borrow money to pay that loan, or you will feel like you're going to lose this deal, so you will sign it very fast without reading. And a practice that we do when we're negotiating, especially with our clients, we like tell them to chill, relax. You don't have to do this right now. Let's go take a walk. We'll do this in an hour. We'll read it. We'll read it tomorrow. If this project is gonna take a year or 6 months, it wouldn't hurt to sign it tomorrow or the day after. So just removing that urgency
It's a good idea.
at times just helps you to breathe, because you would easily make a wrong decision just because in that spur of your moment you were feeling very fearful and you were losing your power.
Totally. Yeah, I like the idea of like losing your power, right? And also like getting away or giving away maybe too much energy, which you could use better for actually working on what you need to work on, right? Makes total sense.
When before we started talking, I think I sent you a question yesterday night at 11. Very bad of me, but I was telling you that over the past few months I have lessened my screen time, and I have tried as much as possible to be present in my thought, present in my emotion, to do less things that give me a fast dopamine release, and I have seen that my decision making has changed. And this is, I used to think of myself very strategic, and I make decisions, in that type of manner. But since I reduced stuff, I realized that no, I am in a way, but sometimes it was just knee-jerk reactions and me convincing myself that it was the strategic move after I have done the move, if you get what I mean.
Makes sense.
And I have seen a lot of benefits in just me, spending time by myself in my own thought. I was just telling my wife I sometimes go to the gym and I don't put on headphones
Me
because,
neither. When I go to the gym, I don't do
yeah,
it.
I want to feel it. I don't want to I want to feel if I'm lifting to failure, I can actually feel what failure looks like. And what are your thoughts on this? Because I know now this is specifically your area. You take people on retreats just for them to be present. What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Yeah, first of all, well done. I think what you are doing is very, very important. I think I'm pretty good at this, but also for me sometimes it happens, right? Especially when we work with social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, and yeah, like I also have my own podcast, and just like I need to also interact with like clients and leads on social media, so I do spend a lot of time there, right? Not for private purposes so much, but of course sometimes also these lines they get blurred, and it is addictive. It's designed to be addictive, right? So
Yeah.
I think the first thing that we always need to have very clear is like, is this using us or are we using the technology, right? So I think that's the first question which we need to ask, and then acting out or making decisions from this point, right? Another thing I would say is as well, like, yeah, single tasking, right? So not doing a million things at the same time. So what you were also saying, I think I also see this in the gym so often, and I don't take my phone personally, right? So I don't take it when I go to classes or when I work out by myself, because it distracts me at the end of the day. I don't want to have notifications the whole time, and even I don't know if you put it into airplane mode or whatever. It's just so easy to just like put it off, and then at the end like watch like what everyone else is doing. And when I'm at the gym, I see so many people constantly with their phone, and it's like this constant overstimulation the whole time. It's so exhausting, right? So
Yeah.
I think single tasking in many parts of your life is very important. You're eating and not watching something or listening to something. You go for a walk. Yeah, it's nice to listen to a podcast every now and then or to music, but you should also be able to just like go for a walk, for example, without any digital device, right?
Yeah.
Then when you work out, you work out. Even when you do, for example, sometimes when I don't want to do my own morning practice, like a yoga practice, I prefer to use the TV, for example, to put on something on YouTube instead of my phone, because then again, like it's just like so easy to look into other things.
Yeah.
think another trick which I've been using since a few years is like just blocking apps. There's the app called Opal.
Hmm.
No advertisement here. It's just something that I've been using for a couple of years now, and it actually you can put certain time blocks, and then you literally cannot access the app, especially when you have the paid version. So it really blocks it, and there's no way for you to access it, which has been quite helpful because sometimes we need to use the phone, but we don't want to check the socials, right? So again, comes back to always kind of like yeah, single tasking. So taking ourselves into the present moment. What am I doing? And when I say single tasking and eating, for example, it's actually like eating and not just already thinking about like, what am I going to do after lunch?
Hmm.
What did
Hmm.
I do in the morning? Whatever, it's like I'm actually here present. This goes for cooking or anything really, right? Like the mind is just like always all over the place. So bringing it back and bringing it back, it's like a daily practice.
Yeah.
And this is why meditation helps with this as well, right? So the goal of meditation is not to become good at meditation, is that like you cultivate more presence in your daily life, and you also are able to acknowledge that everything that's going on in your head so often, those are just thoughts, right? This is not you, who you are, and then bringing yourself back all the time.
It's true. And, you know, to some, I used to personally think like, because my partner, um, not right now because she has also practiced, just restraint and, but before, if we brought snacks in the house, especially chocolate and stuff, she would finish them all. And
Mm.
then she'd be like, why are you bringing them though? As in, don't bring them. If you bring them, I'm gonna finish them. So she decided to now, like, when she's coming to the bedroom, she's leaving the phone downstairs.
Mm.
Maybe when by the time the kids come, she leaves the phone. She doesn't touch the phone until the next day.
Mm.
That restraint in one area developed restraint in other areas, and so I, like a good partner, decided to follow.
Mm.
And that's how the whole process of now me trying to be present happened. And I thought
Nice.
it would be easy, but it's hard because sometimes, as you said, our business, all our marketing is usually in social media, to be fair. So you have to reply to someone in Instagram. You open Instagram, and then I see Isabel on the beach, and then I think, let me just see what she's saying. And then someone else comes up, and then 5 minutes later, I have no idea why I picked up the phone.
Mm.
And by the time I remember, it's the same cycle over and over again, because
Mm.
that's the thing with notifications. And you might be in the gym, as you say, you want to, maybe you're using an app to put the weights and the times, and then a notification comes up,
Mm.
and everything becomes urgent, because it's like the tyranny of the urgent. Everything is begging for your attention.
Yeah.
um so it isn't an easy process. It takes a
No,
lot
no.
of deliberate effort. Yeah.
It does. No, 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 totally, right? So like, but again, it's just because it's easy doesn't mean that there's not a lot, or that there isn't a lot of freedom in that, right? So
Yeah.
actually discipline brings a lot of freedom, and sometimes we confuse this and we think it's restriction, but actually it's not, right? So being disciplined actually, yeah, makes you free, because if you just do whatever you want the whole day, then you're not free. Then you are a
True.
slave to your senses, right? And it's not freedom.
That's a hard concept to actually take in, that discipline actually gives you freedom. In just like we've been talking about the gym and the yoga, there's meditation, and I know you're very into physical stuff as well. The ability for you to move your body, you have to be disciplined, especially in this day and age, to keep a certain weight. But in you doing that, you breathe well, you can run, you can you cert you s- you again have a bit more freedom with your body
And you're
that you would
healthy
not
as
have.
well.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's true, discipline actually, same thing with food. If you take healthy food, then you're not a slave to what's it called, your cravings and You're not a slave to the time taken. There's always this guilt when you have indulged into something that you were like, I shouldn't have done this. And also just the freedom that good health gives you. I mean, you were saying you're just about to get a flu, you don't know. When you get sick, you'll remember how it feels being healthy.
Mm, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
I
it
think
makes total sense. 100%, yeah. But I think also there, like when it comes to food, I mean, different topic, not the main focus of our conversation today, right? But I think it's also, again, like not getting into these extremes. I had this a few years ago as well, where I was vegan and like so much into healthy food and I got obsessed with it. And then it also, again, killed the freedom because I was obsessed with thinking about like where to eat, what to eat, which quantity, da da da, right? So
yeah.
it's again like having a healthy relationship with that as well. Whenever we go too much into extremes, it gets
Hmm.
out of balance, right? So there's nothing wrong with like having, I don't know, a snack or a piece of cake, whatever, every now and then. It's like, I always practice this 80-20 rule, right? So what do I do 80% of the time? And then the 20% is fine, you know? It's the same with like
Yeah.
habits, social media, yeah, my how I live my life, basically how I spend my mornings, right? So most of the times I have like the morning practice and I'm disciplined, but also sometimes there are days when I don't know, maybe I went out for dinner last night
Hmm.
and then or the
Hmm.
other night and then I stay in bed a little bit longer the next day. This doesn't mean that like my whole routine or my life is going to be ruined, right? So
Yeah.
mhm.
I think now because I know you're a very busy individual, and I don't want to take too much of your time today. So bringing this to a wrap, to a close. Again, you are doing a lot of businesses, a lot of different things. How, what advice would you give to someone who's just maybe starting out, maybe in the business for some time, and they're trying to juggle, they're trying to be present, they're trying to make it successful while still be in control of themselves and maybe achieve this dream? What tools can they use to just help them in their decision making? Yeah.
Yeah. I also just actually shared a reel about this morning on social media. I just reposted something which like made lots of sense to me. It's also something that I have been doing for many years. So for me, literally how I spend my mornings, I think this is the most important time and it really sets you up for the day, right? So this like time you have with yourself in the morning without your phone, without already notifications. I think it's really, really bad for your mental health and also for your productivity. And at the end of the day, also for your physical health, if you start your day really just like one eye open and looking at your emails and the payments that came in or didn't come in, or like whatever is like happening in the world, and like you're already so stressed and your cortisol goes up, and then it's just like kind of like you're not going to be the best version of yourself during the day, right? So really pay a lot of attention to how do you spend your mornings. Doesn't need to be a 3 hour morning routine, but
Mm,
maybe the first 30, 60 minutes, like find something for yourself that you actually can commit to and then stick to it, right? Don't make it too complicated either,
yeah.
right? So there's so many like advices these days, and then you go for a 5K run and then you take a cold plunge and I don't know what, you know? Also, like, I mean, do the things that are actually working for you. And I think I said this in like another conversation with you in the past as well. Ask yourself, is this feeding me or is this eating me, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So connect with yourself, with your body, and see like whatever you're doing in the morning, for example, is this actually good for you? And observe. Doesn't mean just because somebody's talking about how good this one thing is, but then at the end of the day, it doesn't work for you. Also, like men and women are different,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
like really pay attention to that. Yeah, and then take some time also to do some mindset work, either if it's meditation or you journal or you do a mix of things, right? And then take care of your body in the morning as well, right? So either you move it in a certain way or you go for a walk, or yeah, just like immediately getting up and sitting down at your
Hmm.
laptop, maybe this is also can be very stressful, right? So take some time to just be and to, yeah, kind of like come more in like a creative mode. And then this at the end of the day also translate in like you being more calm, believing in yourself, being able to control your mind, and just like feel better about you and your business at the end of the day. Also because when it's our own business, us as entrepreneurs, like we are this, right? So
Yes.
we really
Yes.
need to take care of ourselves. And one last thing, I had a conversation with one of my spiritual mentors, I think almost 2 weeks ago now, and
Mm-hmm.
one thing that he said was really, really a good reminder for me. He said that like 50% of your lifetime should also be play, right? And
Yeah.
fluidity and just like doing things that you enjoy doing that don't have a certain business purpose, for example, right? And I
Mm.
think nowadays we are so caught up very often, okay, we need to be productive, we need to do that, and there's not enough time to actually just like wander around, to just be, to relax, to yeah, to invite also maybe this like inner child part of us
Yeah.
into the present moment. So sometimes we think when we do an activity which is not productive that it's a bad thing or something, right? But it's
Mm.
equally important. And I think this is very, very important for entrepreneurs in general as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's nice. It reminds me of someone mentioned to me. So, I come from a very, I was brought up in a very religious background, and someone was mentioning that there's this famous person. I don't want to say who because I might probably say the wrong person, but they said that my day is so busy, so I'll wake up even earlier to pray.
Mm.
And it goes back to what you said about, because the actual act of, let's say, prayer or meditation, or is you being present, and you know um, it needs you to stop and to think about your day, think about your life, think about, affirm yourself. And depending with who you are, this might be quotations, this might be verses, this might be, everyone has their own thing, but it leads to the same thing of taking time off to, be by yourself and almost strategize for the day before
Mhm.
now putting yourself in it. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So
I love
thanks for that. Uh, I want to give you the opportunity just to, shout out anything that you are doing that people might be interested in, before we bring this to a close, and how they might reach you. I'll put your information, of course, in the description and all. But yeah.
it. Yeah, thank you, Carson. Yes, so my next in-person event actually is happening in a little bit more than 2 months in Portugal, where I'm also based. There we dive deep into different somatic practices and meditation techniques, everything that we have been discussing today. Actually, it's a 5-day retreat, 4 nights. Also, like we still have a few spots available. So if you feel kind of like the call to join, then you're more than welcome. Other ways you can also always, like, if you have a question, reach out to me on LinkedIn. And I'm also actually working on a new project, which I hope I can release next month, where I'm going to just open spaces or make it a little bit more accessible to also like work with me. Because for now, my one-on-one mentorship is a high ticket offer in general, right? So like we work in a very intimate container, but
Yeah.
I do want to open it and do more group sessions as well. And I'm thinking about like doing a monthly membership actually, where people can ask questions and join
Mm.
live sessions, have an online library. So this is going to be happening hopefully from next month. And yeah, I think you're going to put my name into the description. So yeah, LinkedIn, Instagram, feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Yes, yes. Thank you. And Isabel is highly responsive, so don't DM her. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing a lot of your thoughts. And I know we'll have more conversations next time, and we'll build up on some of the things that we are doing, either on your podcast or on mine, or in a space near you.
Totally.
Yeah, so before we log off, thank you everybody for watching this. My name is Carson. This space is to get conversations that might help entrepreneurs, business people to see how they can navigate their life and making things more accessible, and more realistic, in terms of that. So thank you for joining me, and thank you, Isabel, once again.
Thanks
And
to
to you
you.
guys, stay dangerous.
Bye bye.
Nice.